Well, hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining our webinar on NITRO Studio, automation for Microsoft 365 in Teams and SharePoint. I'm Scott Restivo, CEO of Crocan Software. Crocan Software has been in business 25 years. We've been doing business process automation solutions for that time on all the different Microsoft platforms, primarily. We still have a strong presence in SharePoint on premises, but our stronger presence and where we're growing is in Microsoft 365 automation. We have a set of applications already preset, ready to go. And we also have our NITRO Studio, which is the underlying powerhouse of those applications, and something you can use in your organization to build your own solutions and your own applications. Many customers that we have built wonderful solutions, great solutions using NITRO Studio. They have taken it, and sometimes people use 3 or 4 or 5, 6 different forms, and sometimes people are up to 40 or 50 different forms and workflows for different processes, things that they can do ad hoc. That maybe they need a request system for one particular project. They put it together, whip up a form and workflows very easily on M365 using all the features of NITRO Studio, and they're able to solve that, provide that solution to their company. And then if they need to retain it or archive it, they can, or maybe it's some other program that they use consistently, leave request, employee reimbursement. And many times we find there's very idiosyncratic, or what I mean by that is particular to the industry kind of forms and workflows that need to be put in place, and they are very easily whipped up with our NITRO Studio. We call this intelligent business process automation, and we are proponents of this IBPA. Well, we had BPA for a long time. Now AI plus BPA brings us IBPA, which we call intelligent business process automation. So that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. All our solutions, I'll bring over a screen of NITRO Studio now. All our solutions run on Microsoft 365, whether it's commercial, the GCC High, as well as SharePoint on premises. There's still people using SharePoint on premises, whether it's 2016, 2019, SE, and they are using our NITRO Studio quite successfully if they're still in that environment. Okay, before we jump fully into the webinar, let me say I'm joined by Krista and James, who will be glad to answer your questions. There is a question box in the webinar screen, and those questions we'll try and get to them during the session, during the webinar, but if not, we'll answer it later. Also, this webinar will be recorded, and we will provide that up on YouTube, and also a link to anyone who registered for this webinar. We also encourage everyone who, let me put it this way. In a webinar, it's kind of hard to cover every topic that might be of interest to people or your particular concerns, but we would be very glad to have one-on-one calls with you, demos, sessions to explain and talk about what your needs are and what your requirements, and whether NITRO Studio can fit that and what it can and can't do. And that's how we grow our business and grow our capabilities of NITRO Studio, is really by talking to our customers, talking to people who are interested, and finding out what they need, what they want in a solution like this. And over the many years of doing this, we've come up with a very robust solution, and I'll be glad to show you. So now I'm showing the NITRO Studio screen. What this NITRO Studio screen is the back element of the program. So it's like this. Let me explain at the high level what's going on here. We have a program, Asset Journey. It's one of our programs for the company in Australia that we work with. And this is what it looks like in SharePoint. Of course, there's mobile interfaces, portal interfaces, all kinds of other ways of seeing the program, but in SharePoint. So it looks like, it is a very robust application. And what's underlying this, the tiles and dials, the list search, the functionality over here, is our NITRO Studio underlying layer foundation. And we will go into 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6 of the different components. We can't go into everything in this webinar. That's why I encourage everybody to get together with us for a one-on-one so that we can really explore how this NITRO Studio IBPA solution can help you out, as it's done for many organizations around the world. So we have the forms, we have custom actions, workflows, reporting, and many other features that make NITRO Studio a very powerful application development business process automation tool on top of Microsoft 365. And as I mentioned earlier, it also works in the SharePoint on-premise world. But before I go into this, I want to emphasize a new direction we're going in, which is the intelligent business process automation, which is AI. You hear about AI all the time, right? There's this $500 billion investment supposedly coming from the government. And so I see it this way. They're building this AI infrastructure, kind of like building the highway. Just like when the web came out, they had to build the so-called information superhighway. You know, every way people could connect to it. First, it was very slow modems, and then it was faster and faster broadband, and then all these features started appearing on. So we're at the stage with AI where they're building the infrastructure, the data centers, the LLMs, and you know, all this. A lot of froth in the mix right now. And what we're doing in Crow Canyon is saying, how can this be used? What is going to be driven on that highway? What's going to be used? As you know, the other people building the highways, we're not doing that. That's for the big boys. But we are how to use what they're providing in the best way to help your organization run more efficiently and effectively and be more successful, whether that means better revenue, better profit, or if you're a nonprofit or government, maybe better service to your citizens, members, constituents, or whatever. So however you want to work it out, AI can provide benefits, and we're trying to find ways to use it most effectively. So what I have going on right here is our HR policies copilot. This is part of NITRO Studio. It's a NITRO copilot. Now, the way it works with our system, if you are not your organization is not ready to jump in the AI situation yet because of restrictions for your technology or security or whatever guidelines you have in your organization, NITRO Studio does not require this. I just want to show you this because I think at the beginning of the webinar it'd be really interesting for people to see what's possible out there. And I'm very impressed by it myself personally, what our team came up with, and we worked with several large companies and also a big city in the United States to develop this, and it came out, it's quite successful and it's quite interesting. In fact, the city has taken this portal here, this design, and made it really, really fancy. It's I can't really show it because it's proprietary, but it has pictures of the city and scenery and a really engaging interface for users to come in. What's the purpose of this? Well, it's this. They have HR policies, so an HR help desk. It could be IT help desk, it could be any kind of help desk. For this case, we're talking about a human resource HR where people are asking questions. They had 300 or more PDFs in a document library or on OneDrive, and the employees would ask questions, and the HR team would have to go search for it and provide them the answer, or they try and search in the OneDrive. All that was very complicated. So what we did is we took it and put the AI element on top of it using the targeted data set. This is the important thing, the targeted data set of those HR documents. Now, this could be knowledge-based articles in IT. It could be manufacturing guidelines in a manufacturing environment. But the important thing, it's a contained source of information that has been approved and is not going out to the larger web information. It's not putting the information out there. It's very proprietary. It's secure within that environment where this copilot is running. That's an important point. Targeted data. You don't want to, like, even MS Graph, if you use some of the Microsoft copilots, you go out to MS Graph, it's going to find everything you hid under the bed, in the closet, whatever. It's going to find that stuff. And what I mean by data that is outdated, confidential, inappropriate, whatever. Unless you have really, really good data governance, most organizations have data all over the place. And if you're using MS Graph and not going with targeted data, you're going to find all kinds of skeletons in the closet. Maybe, most likely, that's what I hear from people who use it. It's like, whoa! Even us, we tried it on our things and found some wrong information from like 2020. Well, it's just outdated, but it wasn't anything serious. But it was outdated. So let's look what this can do. First of all, this interface is quite interesting. We have a hello, of course you can adapt it. It's a web page, so you can adapt it what you want to say here. But we did include these 4, it could be up to 8 or 10 different pre-prompts. Now, the way this is structured, there is settings in the back end where you set up kind of you establish, you tell the AI what you want to do. I'm kind of like you do with ChatGPT. If people know ChatGPT, they know that that you say, I am a HR executive and I want to answer these questions, you know? So you set it up in the back what you want to do, or I'm an IT professional, I want to be able to answer questions. I'm a customer support professional, and then it tells the AI how to act, how to answer the question. So now we're going to put in some queries like, what are the holidays at Crow Canyon this year? You know, maybe someone wants to know this year, right? I don't know. I do, right? So let's see what it comes back with. Okay. So it's telling me that the holidays are this. Here, it's giving me references. You can either go to the PDFs and open them up directly. And that's good. But made me want to know, what day is Labor Day? Yeah, you want to know what day is Labor Day. So it's going to come back. It's on the first Sunday. Labor Day falls, okay, each day. Well, maybe I want to say, what about in 2025? You know, it's going to know. It's going to remember what I'm talking about. It's going to remember the Labor Day. Okay, there. Now see, Labor Day, September 1st, 2025. So, you know, it tells you right there. So remember the context of what the person's talking about and given that. Now, what you can do with this is a lot more. This is just the beginning, because you could rate the conversation, say, oh, that was good, bad, you know, good, bad, excellent, whatever. You can copy it, you can send it by email. If it didn't answer your question, you can send a ticket over to HR. So what we're doing here is given a new interface using AI, using the NITRO Copilot capabilities, Azure OpenAI, Azure AI services, NLP, all those things, and not using the Microsoft Copilots. This is NITRO Copilot, and we're getting answers. It's remembered in context. And what we're doing is, instead of saying, "Oh, go fill out a form," that then the HR company has to HR person has to respond to, which could be a time delay and also takes up time of the HR person to come back. The person's getting answers in real time right here, right? Any employee, any time of day. So now we want to do a new chat, right? So we start a new one. What is the sexual harassment policy at Crow Canyon? Let's see if it figures that out, even though I didn't spell everything right. Sometimes it's smart enough to figure out all this stuff. Sometimes that's why we have the pre-prompts. It helps with some things that are common questions, you know. So here we go. Strict prohibiting harassment. You know, we're in California, so all these are following California law and, you know, good common sense. So here you go, all this, right? So okay, it's giving you some documents again at the bottom, and you say, is hugging considered sexual harassment? You know, maybe you just want to know that, right? Let's see what it says. See what it says here. Yes, under policy could potentially be considered sexual harassment if it's unwelcome, makes someone uncomfortable, you know, yada, yada, yada. But it's telling you right there, right from the policies, the HR policies. Now you have to imagine, what if this was a manufacturing person asking, what are the procedures to do X, Y, Z? Or what if it's an IT ticket? What is, you know, what happens if the printer, you know, the Brother MS whatever printer doesn't work, or the HP LaserJet doesn't work? It can give you very specific information. How about this? Where is the nearest EEOC office? You want to report that hugging, you know, hugging with, I don't know if you report it there. It's giving you right here. Go to their website and get it. See how it's answering these questions in a really, really efficient and interesting way. Now, if you did want to send this over to the HR and create a ticket, you can, and you would. Now, I want to show you something else that's even more interesting with this. I don't want to read it. I need to update my emergency contact information. Okay. That might be a request you get sometimes in HR. Okay, to update your emergency contact information, follow these steps. Yeah. Right, and here's some forms. But what about this link right here? Let's see what this link gives us. Well, lo and behold, it comes up with the emergency contact form. And here you can go in and make your changes. This is all bogus information. I don't have an Uncle Brian, but or brother Paul, but it's in case you're wondering, I just made this stuff up. But if it was right, I could change it, and then I would sign it with a signature, whatever, and I would fill out whatever, and then save it, and it would go to HR, and they would say they would get a ticket that now they need to go update the information. You could make it so that I wouldn't make it so it updates the information directly. I'd go right to HR and make sure they vet it first and say, is that valid? You want to make double sure when you make changes to employee information and things like that. So what you're doing here is updating information right like that. It's pretty cool, isn't it? I think it's great. So we're developing in Nitro this system where you could fill out a ticket, you could fill out a form, that's fine, no problem. But you could also use the AI if you want to do that. Now, if you don't want to use the AI, that's fine. We have another kind of portal where this wouldn't be here, and we just go emergency contact right there, and it would open up the same form. So either, 6 of one, half dozen the other kind of style of doing it, whatever works. That's the beauty of NITRO Studio. It's very, very flexible to do what you need to do for your purposes and adapt it to what your users are used to, your employees, your requesters, whoever's making it, and adapt the forms and everything else and the workflows to meet your particular situation. We provide, we train people on NITRO Studio. Once people get up and using it, they love it. They make all kinds of forms, beautiful forms, workflows, really efficient, whether simple or a complex, whatever. And of course, we're here. We're a small company. We're not, a big, huge mega company that can't answer your questions. We're here. We want to work with you. We see a lot of people. We at the trade shows and community days, like I'm going to Phoenix to community days in February. Just a lot of personal kind of interaction. We're really committed to helping you be successful. So this Copilot, just to finish up, and then I'll get over to the forms. NITRO Copilot, we have a configuration tool in the back end where you can easily set up all the parameters. I won't go into all the details here, but there is, wait a minute, I wanted the HR policies one. There is, you can see like set up what's displayed, you can tie the two together, like what you were just seeing and what this is showing here. You set up your prompts, you do your different prompts, what actions happen if you need to, such as send to HR and what that action does. I mean, all kinds of cool stuff. You have a lot of control over how this works. So that's the AI element. There are a number of other things we're doing with AI. We're doing what we call a first responder, so that when a ticket comes in, this is usually more in the IT tickets and the maybe complaints from customers and things, where AI-based routing, sentiment analysis, analyzing the content and saying, oh, that seems like the customer is really upset, better escalate it to manager or take different steps. We can do AI response generation, categorization, prioritization, all kinds of ways of analyzing that ticket when it first comes in. The other thing we do is provide this kind of functionality to the technicians. So let me do this. Let me show you this. Write up an email to James about our disability policy. So if you're an HR tech or an IT tech, you're on the back end, this will give you the ability to easily write something like this. See, it's already written. Hi, James. I hope this finds you well. It's even being very polite. Moment to share some details about Croquet and his commitment to supporting blah, 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 blah. So here are some of the points about our disability policy, yada, yada, yada. You copy this with the copy function down here, paste it in an email, and send it, because you could send it by email directly, but you want to maybe, I call it humanize it. It's a word I use. You humanize the AI a little bit and make sure it's really what you want to say. But it gives you, it puts you 80, 90% there, because all the information you have to look up, it's pretty much there to put in, right? So, and that chat, and I don't want to rate the conversation. Let's see, cancel. Okay. So there you go. I mean, you can write up any kind of email that's called email generation, automatic email generation. So within the tickets, we're able to generate these kind of already constructed emails to go out. And like I say, this is in production at several organizations, including one major city in the US. They're loving it. They're looking to go expand on it and do other things like use it for other purposes, other, I mean, one thing government has, believe me, is a lot of documentation. Yeah, that's one thing that guaranteed. So there's a lot of targeted data that we can use an AI against and produce this kind of co-pilot functionality. All right, let's go back to NITRO Studio here. Here is a site, another site. This is just a test site called Access Request. It's kind of a playground for me to, put together different things. But it's the Access Request program. Okay, how are you going to do NITRO Studio? Let's get back to the basics out of AI world and talk about the basics. Let's get back to the basics, the fundamentals here. You're going to have a SharePoint site that has NITRO activated in it once you, do all the, once you purchase it, et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to have a NITRO Studio. You're going to have a site, you're going to activate NITRO Studio in it. That site's going to have a list. It's going to have maybe more lists. You're going to create lists. It depends where you want to go. And we can help you with the design of an application and with the, some templates we have. But basically you have SharePoint, you have a list, and on the list, you're going to have a form. You may have several lists with several forms. You may have associated lists that are associated with each other. Depends what your program's going to do, right? We can do it, expense reports. It could be leave requests. It could be, access requests like I have here, many different shapes. Somebody's requesting information from a particular department like marketing needs more materials. It's 101 or 1,001 different ways to use this once you get it going. So here we have a access request system. Okay, what's underneath this? Let me find the access request. Here it is, access request NITRO Studio. Okay, so I was just looking at this here, the access request program. This is what users see, what everybody sees. And then if you want to go into the NITRO apps, you'd go here, or it also is available up here. Usually there's administration, depends how you set it up and what you want to see. But then when you get there, you're going to go into the NITRO Studio in the back end and start designing things. So you notice there's NITRO forms, there's custom actions, there's workflows, reports, there's approval processes right here, branding, email and text synchronization, so people can send in emails, or they can send in a text and it becomes a ticket. They manage what emails go out and how they're constructed. It's email manager, ID columns. You have unique IDs. You can link items together. You can format lists, roll up lists, search lists, view lists, and print manager. Great one, print manager. You can put out all kinds of output to Word, PDF, Excel. I like generate an invoice, generate a document, generate this, generate that. You can do all kinds of things with print manager, as well as just simply print it, or print it and send it out as a report to the managers, tiles and dials, and a lot of other things going on, the bots, the team integration, what you need for your application. That's why we love to have these conversations. It's our work, our art, our job, whatever you want to call it, here at Crow Canyon, to help organizations do business process automation more efficiently. And it's what we love doing it. It's fun. It's good. It's good work, and it's exciting. You find, wow, people can, you never know. You get surprises all the time. I think, see over here, we have workshops, support, training, all kinds of things going on here. And, the training's important. It doesn't take much, but, a few hours of training and you're already up and running. Let me show you the forms designer. I'm going to go to the access request list right here and open up that forms designer. Now, I could have opened it right from here. Well, it's not on that page, but I could have. Okay. Normally it shows up there. I don't know, it didn't this time, but maybe I just missed it. But so it's building up the forms designer. So you can take the form and make it look the way you want. This is the access request form. I can show it over here in the access request if I do a new one. It's way beyond what a SharePoint form can do. I mean, it's not even close. There's so much more capabilities in the NITRO Studio forms and workflows than you ever get out of SharePoint. It's just, there's no question about that. So here we have the form, what it looks like to the end user who's going to enter a new form. You can make it, colors if you want, rounded buttons, it's all like design elements, and that's controlled on the back end, different tabs and things. So that's all here on the back end. So here we are, same idea. And what you have over here, layouts and themes. You have different ways of different controls you can add in, a tab, line, choice, tables, many capabilities to design it the way you want. There's different actions you can add in, form settings, and advanced if you want to do some custom JavaScript and everything. It's not required, but if some people want to do that, We have themes up here. We have all kinds of capabilities. And we also can separate it into the design of a new form, design of a form and edit, design of a form and display, or do them all as the same form. Depends what you want. We can manage the forms. We can export the forms and import them, export to different sites, different lists. You create one form and you want to use it in another. You can create columns. We have the standard SharePoint columns. We also have special columns that function inside NITRO Studio for various reasons. A lookup, user, associated items, signature, attachments. These all have become useful over the years as we have worked with many, many customers. In fact, one of the important things we've done, big thing, 3, 4, 5 years ago, it's still current. I mean, it's still going on. It's called InfoPath replacement. People were using InfoPath like 2013, whatever. It's totally outdated. I'm telling you. I mean, it's, we had the InfoPath replacement project going on 4 or 5 years ago. Still people are asking us about InfoPath replacement. That's fine. And the NITRO Studio comes right in and does it. And we built the forms designer and to be able to let people move off of InfoPath quite easily and design a really nice, beautiful NITRO form instead of using the outdated InfoPath forms. And now we're finding people knocking on our door about moving off of Nintex and K2 forms, which is wonderful, because what they find is Nintex suddenly raised their price and they're going for the enterprise and robotics process automation and yada, yada, yada. And they don't need all that stuff. They don't need to pay all that money for a simple solution using our NITRO Studio to solve what is essentially sometimes just a simple business process. We need a request system that has approvals in order to facilitate this business process. Got to get off the emails. We got to get off the spreadsheets. We got to get off, these outdated systems. But we don't need to go all the way. It's not. I always say you don't need a Lamborghini to drive down to the grocery store. I mean, maybe it's nice. I don't know. I never rode in one, but you don't need that. You don't want to pay for it. You just need a nice, simple, simple system like NITRO Studio. Wonderfully developed over. I think we've been doing it maybe 10 years now. NITRO Studio really adapted, that people, from my experience, who use it really love it, to design this solution. So in here you have many, many capabilities to design these forms the way you want. I could show you some. I got a little crazy with this because I wanted to see what's possible and put in different things on it, on the display forms and everything. A bunch of buttons at the top to show you what you can do here. Different tables and things. So let me show you the form here. There's all the requester information is pulled in automatically because you know who the requester is, because that's who's logged in. You can have associated tasks. You can have signatures. You can have design it in a way that looks like this if that's what you like. You can go in. You can put tables in it. You can do things like this. If you want this type of change, it's going to add a column that shows up. A section that shows up here. If you want to, do a different one, and it's dynamic, in other words, right? And then if you do things like this, you could say, okay, it's a database SQL, particular thing. It's going to show up the SQL tab, which wasn't there previously. It is now. If I go to a different one, like the Oracle tab shows up. If I go to a different, so it's adapting in real time to the actual needs and what the user's inputting into it and what they need to provide, what information is provided in order to facilitate the process. That's the forms. I could go a lot more into that. I think people get the idea. We have forms in SharePoint, forms in our portal, forms in web, forms in Teams, forms in our bot. All kinds of different forms. Whatever you want to do. I'd love it if someone came up with something we couldn't do that we then could build into it, right? That's how we grow. If somebody says, hey, can you do this? This program can do that. Can you do this? Yeah, well, let's see. We'll do it. We'd love to meet those challenges and help you out. It's really about helping you out, helping everybody do their job better. So we're going over back to NITRO Studio, and we're going to talk about custom action and workflows. So let me go over to the form again. And in this form here, you see these buttons at the top. Now they could be other places. They could be different colors. They could be different shapes. Doesn't matter. It's all a button designer. But what the important thing is, this is going to do a certain action called an escalate action. This one's going to do assign to self action here. So over here, self assign. What are these custom actions? Well, they're in the custom action tool right here. So if you have custom actions going on, you're going to build these custom actions going on. So let's look at a simple one here. This one looks very simple. and it's going to show you the custom action. All right, pretty simple. It starts, does this, ends, and sends a notification. And who to send in a notification to is well, all determined in here. What the template work looks like is determined in here. It's from no reply to the requester, you know, obviously a field on the form, and it's going to use this template called notify on task creation. And if we looked at that template, we would see that it's easily designed to be the way you want here, you know, with all these different ways to create it. You can even use HTML. Some people use HTML to create these fancy mail templates. Other people go with kind of basics. So back to the custom action. I'll cancel this. And then I want to show all the different things you can, well, not all, but some of the things you can do. You can expand this out. So one thing you can do is have different gateways. You can have gateways in here that branch off into different directions, depending on, you know, certain context in there. So you might have one that, you know, branches off to, it goes from here over to here, and you know, depending on yes or no, whatever binary's there, then it starts to take a different route. That's one thing we can do here. We have the start and set of variable loop controls. You know, I don't go into it in too detail, but it's something if you're interested in. I'll be very glad. I do want to very glad to show you all the ins and outs of this. I do want to show all the different actions that are possible with this. We have a huge set of actions that really can adapt to what you need to do. Is it to add a list item, update a list item, delete one, execute a script, send an email, send an SMS text, invoke a web service? That's a big one. That's a huge one, because what happens is you can invoke REST APIs anywhere. And we use, I should mention this, a lot of integration goes on based on that REST API, where we might have a purchase request that's done, and then we want to export it out to Oracle NetSuite. Or we might have an access a network discovery tool that has a bunch of data, and we want to pull data in or write data back to it. We have a lot of integrations going on. Integrations are, I mean, you know, we integrate with many, many, many different systems out there, because you know, SharePoint can't do it all. Our NITRO Studio, one thing, actually, I should mention it. One thing that's really beautiful about this, say you got Oracle NetSuite. Licenses are, I don't know, a huge amount of money for each person. Why do you have to get a license for everybody in the company? You don't. All you do our purchase request system. The purchase request gets approved, becomes a purchase order, and then the purchase order is pushed out to Oracle NetSuite, and all you need is like 3 or 4, maybe 2, 3, I don't know how many people in the procurement department who have licenses to NetSuite. We have saved companies enormous amount of money on that kind of licensing by doing the front end in Microsoft 365, where the approvals, the requests and approvals go on, and then the data is just pushed out to Oracle NetSuite or Sales, whatever program, it doesn't, you know, Salesforce, whatever, so that the licensing of the backend system is not needed. You don't need as many licenses, which saves, you know, quite a substantial amount of money. We found it's quite interesting. Well, I was on Invoke Web Service, upload a document, invoke a workflow, you know, one of our workflows or SharePoint workflows, generate a document, beautiful tool for generating invoices, generating purchase orders, generating any kind of document that you can do. You use HTML, design it really nice, use a Word template, an Excel template, or a PDF. Query a list to get information, and then use that later in the program. Invoke a custom action, send Teams, a lot of Teams integration. This is all about Teams. Send a Teams message, create a Teams channel, post a card in Teams. We can launch a URL. We can invoke Azure functions, parse CSV files. We're going to add parse XML pretty soon. Query a list and create a meeting in Teams. So all kinds of things can be done as you put these complex programs together. Let me see if I have the this one right here. Did I show it here? Administration, asset journey. I think I have a one here that has a pretty good workflow. Let me see if this workflow. I don't remember off the top of my head. I did look around. This is a very simple one. We have ones that have like all these different ins and outs, and goes here, goes there. What was that one I was looking at the other day? Let's see. Anyway, you get the idea that it can be quite, okay, how about this one? Maybe this one has a lot of gateways and everything. Yeah, here we go. So you can see like start, it goes here, it does this, it does that, then there's a decision made, and it could go over here, go over there. You know, not that hard to put together, and it's very mapped out. It's very logical. You know, get the task, find this, calculate something, decide yes or no, go here if it's that, go here if it's not, make another decision. blah, 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 and then it goes over to it ends, right? And I can, it's fun to map this out. It's a lot of fun. You can do this with the workflows or custom actions. The difference being this, get out of the way. The difference is that in our NITRO Studio, custom actions are initiated by someone pressing a button, some person pressing a button, or, I don't know if you call it pressing, clicking a button, right? Whatever the proper word is, clicking, I don't know. But NITRO workflows are done by timed events, such as due dates coming up 1 week away, 1 day away, overdue, or something changed on the form, like the status changed or the priority changed, or some new email came in, and so there's some kind of change, or when the item is first created, when it's modified, when it's deleted. It could be timed every time, just like every third day, every month, do something, or timed on based on an expiration date. And we do that a lot with contract management, for example, where if a contract is going to expire, or a ticket's overdue or something, you can send out a notification or escalate it and automatically behind the scenes. Pretty cool stuff, right? So you have your custom actions and you have your workflows. The custom actions go on the form. Where is that form? It goes on the form. Where's my, here it is right here. So here you have your, you put these on here with different buttons doing different things in different locations, whatever you want to do. And, here's one here, and you go decide what custom action you're going to use, because you created all these custom actions previously, and it's going to show up. And you can make it so the buttons are permissioned, which means this only shows up for somebody else, but doesn't show up for that, or it only shows up once the ticket is in a certain state, such as status of resolved but not completed or something like that. So then it could show up. So you have all kinds of possibilities with NITRO Studio. It's very exciting. Wow, I'm going on. I thought I was going to make this 30 or 40 minutes. I'm already up to 40 minutes. It's so exciting. I find this like so interesting. And I just want to encourage everyone to really, take a look at this. And what we've done here at Crow Canyon, it's pretty amazing as far as business process automation and what you can do and the tools you can use to do it. I can cover a few other things before I let you guys go. Hopefully, keep everybody on board here. We have the workflows, we have reporting, we have a report center, we have the branding, teams, and email sync. I was talking about that, different ways of viewing the list. One thing that's interesting here, let me go back to the asset journey one over here. No, that's the other one. This is asset journey right here. And show you like these kind of, here we go. Let's go to the home. This is our tiles and dials up here. We can do it in many different ways. We have reports that show up like this. We have list search. So you can design these pages with all these different web parts, that we create inside of our NITRO Studio, so that you're pulling in a tiles and dials, some information in real time according to what you want to show here. You can do things like this. Let's look at residence, for example. Here's a good example of residence. What do we got going here? Residence. Okay, that's not showing what I wanted to show, but let's look at the preventative maintenance task. Yeah, okay, contractors. That's interesting. All right, well, anyways, I didn't dive into, what I wanted to show you is like how you can do all these different tiles and dials at the top. You can do, many different ways you can look at these, this information here. Now, I can go on and on with what we can do with branding, what we can do with Teams integration, all our other integrations, our mobile story. I want to stop for a moment and see if there's questions or things we can address before we take up the whole hour. I know I get so excited, I keep going and on with this. And Krista or James, anything going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks. So this is James here. So one thing that came up in the questions that are being asked are about user access to the form from like a portal scenario. So I don't know if you wanted to, if you could show what we have set up for our help desk and how we have a portal that's separate from our backend list and kind of keeps users who are submitting forms away from the backend list where the actual data would live.
Okay, here, let's see if we have that. Here's our purchase request. This is the kind of thing I was going to show you, the different tiles and dials. It actually shows up here nicely. There's a portal. So what we can do, basically there are two different sites, right, James? There's the site, SharePoint site and you could permission the heck out of these things as far as who has rights to go in this part. And then we can set up another site that's a portal. And let me see if this, yeah, this looks like it's a basic one. There's probably a better one in our IT help desk. But the thing is, this is geared towards this person, which is this person, you know, is going to submit a purchase request, view my purchase request, my purchase orders, my approvals. So when they do this, this can be what they see only, right? This would be what they encounter. They don't see that back end the back end system. All they see is this portal, and they want to do a new purchase request. It would, of course, when they submit it, it feeds back into the main system. So you have this separation between what users encounter, your regular employees encounter, or customers, or whatever, and what the technicians in the back end deal with. You don't want to give, like the access request system I've shown you, you don't want to give the every end user access to that. That's verboten. You don't do that. You have this portal, and in the portal you can have the forms. Also, you can have the Copilot I was showing you earlier. That's kind of what that HR Copilot was all about. Is a portal that's for the end users, and they have all the permissions to come in and create, view their own, put a request in, submit for approval, one of those custom actions I was talking about, and then it goes in, and they would get notifications. Now the thing is, in our system, you can also have notifications go out to them in Teams if they're using our Engage bot, our notification bot. They can get messages by email. They get messages in the portal. They get text messages if that's what you want to implement. They can get messages in Teams to keep them informed that their purchase request has been approved, or it's been not approved. They need to do more information on it, or it's moved over. The items have been ordered. They're due in next Wednesday. It's like you get from Amazon and everything, right? Those emails and things like that. So however you want to do that, you can set that up. So the end user is getting notified and getting the information and able to see. Of course, this will be available on a mobile device to see what's going on, but they're not seeing every order that's being made, which is, of course, not what you want to do, right? This purchase request system right here. You don't want everybody knowing what's being ordered. This is for the purchasing people, right? The procurement people to come in and run it. And same idea with help desk, right? It's the same idea with the HR help desk and everything. HR is especially sensitive to that because the HR help desk, see, we're in a portal right here, a portal that says portal right there. But if I went back to here, given that I have permission where an end user would not, you're going to see all the requests that are being made by the all the requests being made by everybody in the company. This is what HR people say. I need to change my emergency contact. What's the harassment policy? Change tax. Those are all very sensitive information. Only certain designated people should see. So yeah, James, we have that total bifurcation between what end users see and what the technicians on the back end and managers see.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the other things that we're working on our roadmap is anonymous access. So our web, access through website or even anonymous within SharePoint. So we're exploring that and seeing how we can make that work. One way we can make that work today is if you have a web form, it can write back to a SharePoint list, and it can you can then kick off processes from there as needed. So it's a couple different ways to do that. But that was another question that came up, was asking about anonymous forms. But like I said, that is on the roadmap to investigate and working.
Well, right now you can. I see the thing is you can create a web form, all day and night. I mean, it's easy to create a web form and then you have it send in an email to our system, which then creates a ticket. That's email synchronization. We have that already, whether you send the email directly or use a web form as kind of the precursor to the email. I mean, that's a slam dunk, doing that for 20 years where you have a web form that generates an email, right?
It could also have a REST API integration with that web form as well. Another possibility.
That's right. That's true too. So it depends on how you want to construct it, because anonymous is an interesting word because it could be anonymous from anybody. Say you're a large manufacturing company, you've got 100,000 customers, or it could be like, we had churches that had, a limited membership, and they put in their member number, and then that would identify them in the database as, a particular person. And so it's kind of it's not anonymous really, but it's not a person who has an Office 365 account. Same with the residents there. It's just showing your residents and asset journey. the residents of the retirement villages in Australia, that's our asset journey property, by the way. I've been there, I've been to Australia twice. I love going down there and helping them. I was just at a conference in Adelaide in October about asset management, aged care, retirement villages. We got the asset journey program. We got ESIP, which is continuous improvement plan program going down there. Very exciting work going on with retirement homes. But anyway, as I was talking about, the residents there are not part of the Office 365 system, yet they do have to communicate tasks. There's an app we have that a partner has an app that the resident put the request through the app. The app goes into our maintenance program, our asset journey program, and then it's communicated back to the app to the people who live in the retirement or aged care facility down there in Australia. You know, there's many. We have dozens and dozens of people using that software. So they can use the app in that way. They can use, so it's kind of like not really anonymous, James. You see what I mean? It's kind of like, it's a known resident, but it's not somebody in Office 365. So either way we could do.
Yeah.
Totally anonymous, quasi-anonymous, is that a word? I don't know. And then the people who are actually in Office 365, right?
Yep, sounds good. Exactly, yeah. So those are some of the questions we're getting. There's a question about the dials and the tiles and dials web part.
Yeah.
That's using a count of items in a view. So you can have you can either have a SharePoint list view, or you can create your own query on the fly when in the web part to get a count of items in a particular view. So that gives you some metrics to see how many items in a list are meeting certain criteria or certain metrics that you want to track. You know,
Plus,
things
when you
that,
click this,
sign.
it's going to show you those 23. When you click this, it's going to show you those 59. When you click this,
Exactly,
it's going to show you those 4. This is, and the red is about highlighting because it's high, one of our list formatting things here.
Yep.
And in the asset management program, access request program here, I should point out other features we do at list, James. This is kind of interesting. We have the KPIs, the percent complete, you know, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Yeah. You know, if you say like, you could track it that way. Anyways, I don't know if you were done saying, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
no, you're good. You're good. I'm all set. That's about it. Yeah.
The other point is that in the in this, you can have, say, you have an access request that, I mean, this could be any maintenance request or IT ticket. You're going to have associated tasks, right? Here's your associated task. Well, you know, we built our own CRM system, for example, and we have, you know, the account with multiple contacts in the account. Those are all, each contact is a separate item in a contacts list that's built using our account record, or it could even be sub accounts. There might be mega company with, you know, branch 1, branch 2, branch 3, right? Or it could be contacts, or it could be documents, you know, that are related to that particular account that are in a document library. So, I mean, I don't know, James, we've done a heck of a lot with Office 365, you know, bending it to our will, let's say, right?
Yeah, I certainly have. Yeah, but putting it through its paces and putting it to its limits. And I think there's quite far you can go with it. We found there's a lot of places you can go with it. And I think it's really serves a lot of needs for a lot of different processes and automation needs. So I think it's a very, very robust tool for that purpose.
So we do, so, you know, we got the task shows up right here, right? You know, it's right there. Goes up right away. Normally, you'd like a, you know, a SQL database, you might generate a task. You could even do this automatically out to the SQL admin and say, okay, SQL admin, you need to, this request has been approved. Now let's go ahead and make sure the task gets done. And then using the subtask, you can decide if the ticket should be closed, you know, based on the status of the subtask, right? I know you can also do like one cascades into another. Really, there's so much going on here in each business. I'm sure we have a lot of people from many different businesses who have different requirements, you know, whether you're you know, a software company, a manufacturing company, a government agency, a nonprofit, a education, I mean, whatever it is, we do a lot, you know, we adapted to it. And like I said earlier, remember this, James? I said the GCC, we work in the GCC and the GCC high, if you happen to be in government records, you know, and we're a California certified small business based here in the Bay Area. That's where I am right now, in the Bay Area. But we have people all over the United States. We have people in other countries, India, Guatemala, Australia, you know, places like that that are working with us. We have partners in, you know, Central America, Europe, you know, so if anybody's interested in moving off some legacy program and really accelerating their business process automation using intelligent business process automation, IBPA as we call it, term we came up with, and then let's go with the NITRO Studio. And it'd be really what I like hearing stories. You like hearing stories, James? I like hearing
Oh yeah,
stories. So I
yeah.
always like to talk to businesses, and it's always exciting to me because I go around, I travel a lot, and I see one of our customers, at some place in the airport, or there's a sign on the billboard on the highway, or we had a drinking fountain company, and I'd go every time I took a drink from there's our company. So it's, work with us. We love hearing stories about your companies and what you're doing, what your needs are, and get excited about if we can solve some of the problems or some of the difficulties or inefficiencies, you call them, at the organization using the latest technologies. And the discussion about AI, I think it's fascinating, and we're going to be going more and more. We're going into the agentic world, the agents, AI agents, what we can do with that. We realize there's cautions. Don't get me wrong, there's cautions about security, about hallucinations, about a lot of things. But we're finding such positive results when we say AI put to good use, AI put in a limited sense of the targeted data, very specific uses. It's like a very broad subject, AI. So when we're talking about AI, it's used specifically for business process automation in a very controlled, targeted manner, right, James? And
Oh yeah.
none of this is exposed out to the internet, none of their data at all.
Right. Well, that's the idea, is that especially with the AI piece of it, that's something that integrates with Azure OpenAI or another AI resource of your choosing, and then that's the extent of where your data goes. Like you're choosing where it goes,
Right.
whether it stays local or stays within Azure 365 environment or not.
I've been doing this business a long time, and I would say that if you're not on the AI path, that's okay. But in the near future, it's like going to almost be required. So we have this path, I guess you could say, of AI enhanced applications, AI enhanced. So that's what we're doing now. All these using NLP, sentiment analysis, auto this, auto that, the co-pilots, and the auto generation of emails, and moving into agentic. And the next step is AI powered. AI powered means that actually the AI is doing a majority of the work. Like maybe it says go reset a password, and the agent goes off and runs off. Okay, I'll go. Like a minion. You ever see the Despicable? I love those minions. They're so funny. Oh yeah, I'll go off and I'll reset the password. You must have seen that movie, right, James? Despicable
Oh
Me.
yeah, no, of course, of course. With the two kids, I've seen it probably like 20 times each. So
I always think
yeah,
of the vintage when I think of these agents. That's not quite the same, but I don't know, maybe it gives me a little sense of humor about this. Of course, the minions are always doing something wrong, so hopefully our agents don't do things wrong. You gotta be careful how much of a comparison there we make. But anyway, they can go off and set passwords or send out an email or whatever. Of course, that's where you get more cautious when it's AI powered versus AI enhanced. AI enhanced very much has a human element in it, keeping track of things. And even in our HR Copilot there, I'm showing you, I don't, it should say here that generative AI is experimental, whatever it says on ChatGPT, something like that, please verify. And like we said, what we were showing earlier, whenever we use it, we do have the actual sources of information showing up, right? So, we're taking this cautious, but progressive approach, I guess you could say, to AI, right? And
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, if anyone wants, we'd love to do another Copilot project like this. We have several in the book and in the ramp already. Things we're doing for various people. The interesting things down in Australia is one we're doing with. I won't go into details, but it's an interesting project, and we have a lot of interest in that. But that's not all of NITRO. NITRO Studio is all you could do without AI at all, and just do the forms, workflows, portals, email synchronization, and all that. Anyway, I think that covered enough. Is any other questions?
Yeah, nothing else to come in, but certainly if anyone has any follow-up questions, we're happy to answer them.
All right. So thank you everyone for joining the webinar. Please contact us and find out what else we can do, how Crokin can help you either move off a legacy program, InfoPath, or a high-end program that costs too much like Nintex, or just use both, use Nintex and I don't know, whatever works for you. Hopefully I've shown you enough to get you at least whet your appetite, get you interested in hearing more. And we'd love to dive down into any details and any challenges you want to present to us. Love to hear them and go forward from there. All right. Thank you for joining. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And I think it's Chinese New Year coming up, right? So happy Chinese New Year. I don't know if anyone
Couple
does
days.
that, but yeah. All right. Take care, everybody.
Thanks all. Take
Thanks,
care.
James. Thanks, Kirsta.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.